Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roll Radio. I'm your host, Sinkus, and today I'm joined by Tom Badley. Tom is an artist with a background in fine art, in banknote design, and more recently in 2019, he started dabbling into NFTs. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, to start us off, I think it'd be wonderful to talk a little bit about your upbringing and your background. So, if you want to tell us a little bit more about that, that'd be great.
Bringing background. Well, I'm from the UK, obviously. I can tell by my accent. And from pretty early on, art was something that I was interested in, that was doing, and that was direction that I chose from almost pretty much from day one. And in terms of where that led me, I guess by 12, 13, art was pretty much a religion. Um, and so it was only natural I went to art school. So I went to art school in London, did 4 years, which is a long time of partying and drinking and not really learning anything about life. But the highlight of art school was going to New York. I was chosen to go on an exchange program in New York, and that was awesome. Cooper Union School, so I saw a different culture, a different way of doing things. Um, and yeah, I mean that graduated and everyone graduates from art school. Their life is in shambles and they have to work out what they want to do with their life. And I almost immediately picked up something that had another thing that surfaced in my childhood, which was I guess an obsession with money and the look and the feel and the touch and the design of money. And yeah, I launched back into that after I graduated. At art school, I was doing anything other than that. I was did a little bit of drawing, but mainly it was video production and nothing that I mean, it's come in handy, but nothing related to money. I kind of like went to sleep at art school, I think, as many people do. And I sort of woke up when I graduated and sort of picked up banknote design after that.
Hmm. Awesome. That's interesting. And I mean, it seems to me that money speaks to you on a very different level, from what I've read, than it does to most people. And do you want to? I think at one point you've called money the mirror of humanity. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the thought is there?
Wow, how long have you got? uh, so yeah, I mean, money is the mirror of humanity. Well, basically, what I was thinking there is that whatever we consider to be money, and money has been many things over the years: gold, silver, paper, base metal, shells, whatever. And whatever we use as money seems to reflect something about how we feel about ourselves as human beings. And that is really such a core idea. It's like it doesn't matter what we use as money, it seems to be an externalization of ourselves. um, in the case of pretty pictures on pieces of paper, um, that says everything about our world. It says everything about the trust that we put into the banking system and corporations, that we don't, there is no face to these central banks. Central banks have that's why central banks have faces to put on money, because the central bank has no face. And so that says everything about our world. Moving over to cryptocurrency, where it's sort of, it's getting closer to the idea of issuing one's own money. We could talk about that with social currency. But the idea of cryptocurrency is that it necessitates a greater autonomy in the individual. So that it's not just a shift in money system; it's a shift in actual consciousness, because the nature of money is literally mirroring, what's going on inside of us. And it's no accident that the advent of cryptocurrency is coincident with a desire to be autonomous, a desire to, for more personal freedom, the rise of home business. It all makes total sense, in the grand scheme of things. This technology doesn't just like pop up out of nowhere. It comes about through a shift in humanity's self-perception. So that's the kind of short answer.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. And I'd love to talk about your work a little bit more as well. You've been working with governments and central banks and currency design and banknote design specifically, and then you've been making art inspired by that background that you had. Do you want to tell us a little bit about both the art and also the actual banknote design, how you got into it, how you felt while doing it? That's
Cool. So, banknote design is obviously something that interested me for a long time, since I was a kid. And a few things led to me being hired by, getting a job in the banknote industry, which is a funny industry, because it's a design job, but it's a design job like no other, because it's so high security. So you're kind of you have to go through all these, security checkpoints and everything that you do, and everything is checked and double checked and triple checked, and it's just a really weird situation to design in, but absolutely incredible, because you see money, the thing that we that rules our world, literally being generated and printed from scratch, and yeah, that's pretty incredible. The experience that I had is that I was in a foreign language environment, so it just completely, that adds another layer of complexity and weirdness to the whole situation. But it was fantastic. It was amazing to see a level of design, a level of artistry that doesn't exist anywhere else, I don't think, because as our world has become more pared down, you think about the world of design, Steve Jobs was talking about making a phone with one button, so, and the US government or the US military wanted to create a plane with one wing, so everything's been pared down, become minimalist. And at the same time, the banknote in the same period of time over the 20th and 21st centuries become even more complex, more artistic and more ornate and more complicated, and all the processes that are used. It's like every single banknote, it looks like this homogeneous design that flows, but actually each one is like this sort of puzzle, of all these different print processes that are very precise, and that's what gives money its unique look and feel. And that's what makes money so unique. Physical money so unique in our world. It's a product like no other. Its only job is to be trusted, so that was amazing. And almost, the minute that I got there, in the industry, it was a job requirement, I guess, to think in terms of an artist, to see what you could do with these processes and these very precise techniques, and see where you could take them. And so when I left the industry, it was just, it's literally what I'd done every day, and it's all I could think about. So it was all that I was doing. And I just wanted to take it further. I was obsessed. And so it's not just design, it's not just digital design, it's the physical printing of it. So, I took courses in offset printing, or you call it litho printing or lithography. I took other print courses in intaglio. These are some of the processes that are used in banknote design. And that kind of gave me like a foundation. I should have had that in art school, but art school I did anything other than printing. I hated printing in art school. I thought it was messy, it was complicated, not interested. Didn't walk into the print room one day in the 4 years that I was there, but it's the way life goes. 10 years later, I was obsessed. So I took courses in all these different print processes, and of course, everyone there, these sort of old ladies who are doing like a 3-day course in Intaglio, they're doing, pictures of their cat or something. There's me like trying to print money, which is kind of funny. Yeah, that's what led into actually in a practical sense, actually making art that used the same processes and the same design protocols as money, and it's all very precise.
Yeah.
So
What I found fascinating is that you could use, from what I read, you could use printing techniques that you learned from working in the banknote industry to actual physical art, and kind of like help foolproof the authenticity of an artwork, which is a big problem in the traditional artwork space. And yeah, it was very fascinating to read about that. So,
right, so anti-counterfeit art is like the holy grail of the art world.
mhm.
It's,
Absolutely. And yeah, from starting fine art and working in the banknote industry all the way to NFTs in 2019, which I feel is kind of like the natural way of things, and especially when you talk about anti counterfeit art, right? NFTs can be verified on the blockchain, so it's kind of like more or less as counterfeit as digital art can be. So I'd love to learn, what got you interested in NFTs in the first place, and how you got started into kind of like making them and getting involved in the community there.
well, the story goes basically in 2017, my best friend told me about NFTs, and I ignored him. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was stupid, um, which is kind of silly on my part. So 2018 went by, didn't look at it, and then things started cropping up at the end of 2018. Because I was aware that I was in the realms of like designing money, and because I was aware of cryptocurrency already, been in cryptocurrency since 2011. Um, Crypto art sort of popped up, and I think I saw a few headlines about a crypto artist having a show. Maybe it's Trevor Jones. Maybe it was like um, one of these early crypto art people, and it was just kind of flashed up on my radar. So months went by, and I ended up going to a conference, crypto conference in the UK, and there were talks, there were workshops, and NFTs and art were featuring quite prominently. And suddenly, when I saw those talks, people explaining what NFTs were, then it was just set everything on fire. So I came away from that conference really with a clear direction in my head as to what I wanted to do, and it just seemed so clear to me the opportunity that was in front of me. I'm making money. I'm literally making money. Here is cryptocurrency, money, art, money, art, money, art. It's the two things that have been with me my whole life. I'm going to combine them. I'm going to do it. So it's just the perfect medium for me, and
Mhm.
and then it took off in 2019.
Awesome. Yeah, and back in 2019, NFTs weren't really as hot as they are today. So I'm curious to as to what your kind of like your community or your peers' response has been like back then when you first started getting into it.
Well, back then it was like the vibe was kind of like kids trading, cards or something in the playground. That was the kind of vibe. Like, and it was all very wide-eyed and innocent because you had a small community. You had people just sharing what they were doing, um, and everyone kind of impressed with what was going on. Everyone very engaged in the idea of making something good, of making something that looks good, and
Mhm.
that idea is lost when you go over into the art world. To put it simply, it's about the concept, and it all becomes very intellectual because art has to create a story, and it just survives on that. There's all sorts of reasons why that happens in art and not in, say, a small community. But it's very, very different now, of course, because that tiny community is like splintered off into all different directions, not just fine art. It's going into like, you know, I mean, in all sorts of different directions. So yeah, it was a very, very, very different ride, but very encouraging, very friendly. The best place to start to be an artist, and I still think it's the best place to start to be an artist. You know, I still think it's the best place. NFTs are the best place to actually, find your community. It is so easy to monetize that you don't have to get picked up by a gallery, and then of course a gallery kind of nixes out a certain type of art they don't want. Always, the gallery is trying to boost their own look and feel and strengthen their own brand, whilst a platform for the most part is agnostic. So yeah, it is still the best place to be an artist in my opinion.
Mhm.
Sure.
Awesome. And as an artist yourself, what's your general outlook on the crypto art space? Is it something that you believe is here to stay, or it's something like a passing phase?
Um, Crypto art and NFT. So crypto art is like I feel that crypto art is the more authentic name for what I do, and NFTs is like this umbrella term that is apolitical. And crypto art is tied to the idea of cryptocurrency, and so it has all the danger and how can I say, all the cutting edgeness, or the edginess, I should say, of cryptocurrency, of something that is outside the system. So that's crypto art. NFTs is this sort of watered down technical term for what we do, and so NFTs have naturally found that's the kind of that's the name that's stuck with the art world and stuff like that. So I see now like an appreciation growing for like the early pioneers of crypto art, and there's a lot of shows around that are kind of celebrating that, which is good, which is really good. But this idea of an NFT is for sure here to stay. The idea that you can monetize anything on the blockchain that is verifiable, the content creator, and I don't really use that term much, but someone who creates stuff in a digital space, that it becomes so easy to monetize, and also the idea that assets can be given a visual representation to make them trusted and friendly and consumable, just like money. Just like money. Money is nothing. It requires a face. It's like a bucket, and all those designs that you associate with money is like what you fill the bucket with. So the artist, the crypto artist, is like it's 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 amazing because this phenomenon has taken off. It's sort of it's cool to be an artist in a way that maybe in like 1860 it was cool to be a mathematician, or in like 1960 it was cool to play the guitar. Now it's probably trendy to be an artist, which is only to an artist's benefit.
Mhm.
Popularize the idea of being an artist. It's popularized the idea of trading, um, and with all the stuff happening, all the memes, all the kids like trading, and that's taken off as well. So yeah, it undoubtedly, like, there will be like bursts in the bubble, but the essential idea of an NFT like is absolutely here to stay. The idea that you'll have your assets secured, and that there is no intermediary, like telling you to buy and sell, and keeping your assets for you. um Absolutely. And if you think, if we are going from a debt-based money system to something that's more asset-backed, you know, before NFTs, before blockchain, would have been an impossibility to carry loads of gold and silver around with you.
Mhm.
But then you can tokenize the contents of a vault, a gold vault, and then you can literally play a game where you earn real gold, tokenized gold in the game, I mean, yeah, and then use that on other platforms as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's for sure it's here to stay. It's the next evolution in money.
Awesome. Yeah, then mentioning money, let's talk about social money for a bit now. So, although you haven't really kind of like officially launched it, a while ago you minted paper with us, and I'm curious to know what your plans were and are there. What kind of like
Cool.
led you to mint it and create it, and kind of like how you want to go about it.
So from the beginning, my idea with paper, which is what I called it, is to create a physically backed uh, social token. And between then and now, it's taken a lot of work and a lot of design, and a lot of printing, but I actually have now printed um, a physical representation of all 10 million tokens. And they take the form of literal stacks of bills. And if you're on social media, you can see, or on my website, you can see pictures. You can buy the bills. And that was the first idea. I'm really passionate about this idea that um, NFTs or crypto art, there should be some. The artist should have some, uh, at least 1 foot in the physical world. And so I wanted to add that layer of value. That this might be trading on Uniswap, it might be traded between people, whatever. I'm airdropping it, but there is always this physical backing that never goes away. And it's an artistic experiment, because obviously this physical backing takes the form of bills, individuated bills, and of course it's representative of a social token, but it's also my art. So it's this total convergence of the art, the money, the social token, all in one idea. Where we go from there, I guess we'll have to decide with the community, because what I don't want to do is simply, market to some people and shill these bills to everyone. It's no one needs bills with my face. But I really want to push the conversation towards, and the attention towards producing stuff to a really high quality, and to make artwork that is poignant, that is relevant, that touches on things that have real kind of poignancy today. And I want to create a space for that somewhere in crypto art. I see a lot of cool stuff happening in crypto art, a lot of really admirable stuff. But there's also a lot of crap, a lot of noise, and I want to create a space for quality artwork and quality ideas, and I guess we'll just add to that over time.
Hmm. Makes sense. And how will kind of like your social money paper tie into what you've been working on so far? Will it be kind of like the bridge between the physical and the digital?
I want it to be, yeah, yeah. Um, it, it's never really been done before. I mean, like, you've got Whale, and he says that there's some physical backing, but to have every token like literally represented in physicality is kind of something else. It would be cool if people redeem these bills and burn the tokens. Shrink the supply, make it more scarce, increase the value. That could be interesting.
Hmm.
We'll have to see.
Awesome. So, in a way, you could see social money and your social money in particular as be interpreted as art. As one big
Right.
piece of art.
It's one big artwork. Yeah. I've literally turned the social token into artwork.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of base layer, and that's the foundation of the idea, and it can go any number of directions.
Hmm. Awesome. Yeah. Art as money as art, right?
Right, 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 right.
And when can we expect on your launch?
um I want to do it soon. I want to do it soon. um you know uh the bills are printed. They're ready to go. People have been asking me, when are they coming? And some people have the token already, so I need to get some bills for them. So yeah.
Mhm.
ready to go.
Awesome. And that means people that are holding the token can redeem it for the physical thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. Awesome. That's great. And do you think, in kind of like on a more higher note, as an again as an artist yourself, do you think social money can help empower digital artists or crypto artists? And if yes, in what way, other than just using it as a kind of like as one big artwork like you do?
Well, I think that the idea that you can monetize a community is like an essential part of the new economy. It's an embodiment of the internet economy, and it's a natural feature of the internet economy rather than these centralized currencies, or even something like that lacks personality, like Bitcoin or whatever. The fact that you have something that is your own, to sort of to generate that value between you and, or signify that value between you and your community, I think is a really key idea. As with all these things, it's any new idea that requires like more autonomy of the person who's at the center of it. Um, it requires more work from the individual. So uh, the idea that you can monetize anything is, it could put people on like this sort of never-ending hamster wheel of monetizing their life,
Mhm.
in the same way that mobile phone technology is something that just sucks all our time. It could veer the other way. So I think it really requires a lot of thought and a lot of empathy and sensitivity with the person who's at the center of their own social token. And if that's applied, then yeah, it could be a really positive thing.
Mhm. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Totally agree as well. And Tom, where could could somebody find more about you, your work, your background, your upcoming paper launch? Um,
I'll be tweeting about it on Twitter. You can follow me on Currency Design, Twitter at Currency Design. Um, my official crypto account on Instagram is Tom_Badley_cryptoart. And there's also my site, tombadley.net.
mhm. Awesome. Yeah, all these links will be in the description of the video. So if anyone's interested, go take a look. Awesome. And yeah, I do have a kind of like, I like to do a thing where I close the show out on a fun note and I just ask one random or silly question to my guest. So for you, I think the one I have would make total sense. So in the whole world, which is your favorite banknote or coin from any country in the world?
Wow. Put me on the spot there. Um, Tough one. I would have to say the note that is first in mind is probably uh, the Series E £50 note from the UK.
Mhm.
And if you've ever seen this note, it's big, it's red, it's so English, and it's just so tied to my whole idea of what England is, with the ceremony, with the history. The Queen's portrait is very weird. She looks a little bit like a frog, and her eyes sort of follow you around the more you look at her. And one half of the note is like this sort of gray, sort of very steely, cold gray, and the other half of the note is like this psychotic red, and it just says everything about my feelings towards the UK.
Awesome. That's nice. Yeah, mine would be the Danish Corona, the coins. They
Oh,
have,
nice.
yeah, they
With the
have,
whole,
yeah, with a hole in the middle. Yeah, because I
yeah,
once saw somebody wearing that as a necklace, and I figured, it's very, I don't know, I found it poetic or abstract in a sense. For some people that's money, for others, they just turn it into a necklace. It doesn't mean anything to them. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, nice Viking money, the horse. Cool.
Awesome. Well, Tom, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure and really fascinating stuff, especially for all the banknote design stuff. I find it really fascinating personally, and really looking forward to the paper launch.
Thank you so much for having me.